Hello. Today we're going to discuss food. Food plays one of the most important roles in all of our lives. We plan our work schedules, weekends, and evenings around it. Not to mention, we live in a society that embraces the idea of keeping food on our minds constantly. For instance, let's try an experiment. Who's hungry? The concept of having food in our normal thought process doesn't always have to be a bad thing. For instance, the USDA has been making nutritional recommendation guidelines for over 100 years. Here are some examples. The very first guideline distributed by the USDA was in 1916 in a farmer's bulletin titled Food for Young Children. Soon after, How to Select Foods was distributed by the USDA. It was a 14-page pamphlet giving people guidelines on how to eat healthier. Then in the early 40s, the Basic 7 was introduced to the public. This was a more interesting take on healthier foods, but you gotta remember this was also at a time when doctors were telling people that cigarettes were healthy. Then in the 50s, the Basic 7 seemed a little too complicated, so the USDA simplified it to the Basic 4. They released a daily food guide. The food guide provided serving sizes for milk, meats, fruits, and vegetables and grain products. The food guidelines have gone through many variations from that point on, and then in 1992, the USDA released the very first food pyramid. The food pyramid became a standard that Americans lived by for a very long time. Then in 2011, First Lady Michelle Obama and Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack came forward and said that the nearly 20-year-old food pyramid would be replaced by the new icon, the food plate. No matter what you call it, it basically tells us some of the same things. It gives us an idea of the things that we can eat in moderation, the things that we should eat more often, and the things that we should eat less of. There are several variations in different countries of a very similar concept as our food pyramid, such as the United Kingdom's Eat Well plate, Poland's food pyramid, Japan's spinning top, Hungary's food house, the Mediterranean diet food pyramid, which makes things a little different. Look at the daily wine. Germany got all fancy with a 3D food pyramid. The Chinese food pagoda. The French food stairs. And then back to our 1970s standard food wheel.
There is some debate of which type of fat is better to eat. The choices are either polyunsaturated fat or saturated fat. Some details about the two can be found on the American Heart Foundation's webpage. According to their site, polyunsaturated fats can help reduce cholesterol, while saturated fats only increase cholesterol. Polyunsaturated fats provide the body with nourishments such as omega-6 and omega-3, while saturated fats do not. Polyunsaturated fats can be found in certain vegetable oils as well as certain fishes and nuts. Saturated fats are commonly found in animal meat and dairy products, and even more commonly in fried and baked foods. The debate talks about trading the consumption of saturated fats with more polyunsaturated fats. Is there a real difference between them though? A study found that there might not be a real big difference in their benefits. It is most likely because fats are still fats and should be treated as such. Every type of fat is the same. They all equal the same 9 calories per gram. So should you avoid any products with fats to avoid high cholesterol? Not at all. Enjoy what you eat. Just don't overeat fats. Moderate your intake of certain foods. Don't eat to feel stuffed. And maintain a sufficient amount of physical activity. As well, don't count calories. It is hard to find out how many calories per day you should eat, as well as keep track of how many calories per day you have eaten so far. A much better way to diet is to focus specifically on what foods you eat. Information on what foods provide your body with the nourishments it needs. You can look at what is now called the My Plate.